Topping today's news, new hospital facilities are on the way. Behavior among primary school boys and girls deteriorating greatly. The National Security Minister shares details on the CARICOM special mission to Haiti earlier this week, and the Labor on the Blocks program will be in action again this weekend. Good evening, Bahamas. I'm Jarino Saunders. This is your JCN Evening News. It's a pleasure to have you join us. As the Bahamian population continues to outgrow the Princess Margaret Hospital and the Rand Memorial Hospital in Grand Bahama, successive governments have recognized the need and have announced plans for new hospitals on Grand Bahama and New Providence. Well, in this next report by Jcn Bastian, it appears as if the Davis administration will make this happen.
The first phase of a proposed new healthcare facility for Grand Bahama has a price tag of $201 million. The Davis administration is on target for a new hospital for the island. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Michael Darville making that announcement during his contribution to the mid-year budget debate on Thursday. Dr. Darville telling parliamentarians and the general public that the Davis administration is continuing with the promise made under the former Christie administration.
I am pleased to report, by way of the funding from the World Bank, the construction of the new state-of-the-art hospital for Grand Bahama is on target.
Yes, sir.
East Grand Bahama, Central Grand Bahama, and Marco City. The new hospital for Grand Bahama is on target. That the minister said was pie in the sky.
Yeah, that's what they speak.
My brother, the hospital for Grand Bahama that you indicated will never be built will be built, and groundbreaking will happen in short order.
Architects, health planners, and engineers have completed the first phase of the new design build, and requests for proposals will go out this month as part of the tender process, Dr. Darville says. As for the New Providence healthcare facilities, the minister says this.
That the first phase of the budget cycle for the feasibility study for the new specialty hospital and trauma center. Member for Kalani, I want you to hear this. The budget cycle for the feasibility study for the new specialty hospital and trauma center for New Providence was completed last year. And the Ministry of Finance is in discussion with an international bank interested in providing funding for that hospital.
Dr. Darville says the loan facilities will make way for the modernization of healthcare infrastructure and help to transform the delivery of quality tertiary healthcare services across the country. Add to that, the health minister noted that his ministry is working closely with the newly appointed Inter-American Development Bank Project Execution Unit, responsible for management of the IDB loans, along with a $5 million EU grant.
And I'm pleased to say that they are making steady progress to put shovel in the ground for the construction of 8 new clinics, 1 mini hospital as promised for Eleuthera, across our family islands, and the long-awaited extensive renovation for 17 additional clinics across the archipelago.
According to Dr. Darville, infrastructural works, medical IT, and emergency medical services upgrades are being funded by 2 IDB loans, coupled with his ministry's negotiating additional bank funding. For JCN News, I'm Jcn Bastian.
Thanks for that report, Jcn. Some citizens would tell you they saw this current increase in young people committing serious crimes coming from as far back as 30 years ago, as the rates in teenage pregnancy and illegitimate children continue to rise, along with a deteriorating social fabric and respect for law and order. Well, according to the Minister of National Security, it is beginning to manifest itself even at the primary school level. Destiny Johnson has more in this next report.
The government has become increasingly worried that persons committing crimes are starting at very young ages. In 2022, there was an increase in the number of various criminal offenses, such as homicides, armed robberies, and sex crimes, with adolescents as young as 14 being charged with armed robbery and murder. In light light of this, Minister Monroe, while voicing his concerns, says there has been complaints coming from the primary schools as well.
In the primary schools, the behavior that these administrators, these guidance counselors are reporting to us is just amazing. Young grade 2, grade 3-year-old boys telling grown female teachers to do this to their genitals, the next to their genitals in front of other students. A problem with primary school students selling drugs in school. A problem with hypersexual young girls passing notes inviting the young boys to have intercourse with them at different places. The reports coming out of these schools. And in one case, there was also a private school reaching out for help. It's just unfathomable to those of us of this generation, but it is happening. And so we can't bury our heads in the sand. We have to approach it and deal with it.
Minister Monroe goes on to stress that criminals do not appear overnight. The only way that we can combat this growing problem is to interrupt that journey from birth. The Royal Bahamas Defense Force is set to launch a new initiative with that in mind.
From an innocent child born to a Bahamian mother, to her good son who is shooting somebody 3 or 4 times in the head. That is a journey. We must interrupt that journey from birth to that point. The Royal Bahamas Defense Force has a youth development office that is involved with a number of programs to intervene with young people along that journey. And we are about to launch a new one that will intervene with children now in primary school, because we find that the age of offenders are falling and the behavior of our children in our primary school is worsening. And so we expect to launch the HYPE program, which is a specific intervention program for primary school students. The Royal Bahamas Police Force, through its various programs, also seek to break that journey from birth to murderer. And it has a number of programs under its community outreach that engages with young people.
The National Security Minister goes on to note that a number of churches are already partnering with them to provide wholesome programs, but he says more can be done.
The one plea that the Commissioner of Police and myself as Minister of National Security would make to the general public is you can participate in this action. It is very trite that it takes a village to raise a child. And so the fact that a child is born to a single parent and has no engagement with a father is no excuse for us not to intervene in his or her life. And so we would be calling on more churches, because the churches do a lot now, more civic groups, to make yourself available and become involved. I repeat and stress, people do not wake up and decide to do these crimes that make our statistics.
Minister Monroe reiterates that it is the job of citizens of this country to intervene by identifying the persons on that road and seek to deter them from that path of destruction. For Jcn News, I'm Destiny Johnson.
Thanks for that report, Destiny. A key component of the policy on immigration is international cooperation. National Security Minister Wayne Monroe noting as much as he spoke to the media on Thursday during the Office of the Prime Minister's weekly press briefing. One of the major issues for the Haitian police besides security is a lack of pay and a lack of manpower. Minister Monroe briefed reporters on what took place during CARICOM's special mission to Haiti on Monday as they met with politicians, the chief of police, the business community to discuss security issues facing that country. Minister Monroe says if Haiti's stabilized, it will greatly improve the migrant situation here in the Bahamas.
We flew into Port-au-Prince, which is a part of Haiti that is not at peace. The CARICOM delegation was led by the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, the Prime Minister of Jamaica. We met with the Haitian National Police, who were formed only in 1995. They've been a body only from 1995. They indicated that they had limitations on the ability to engage with the gangs in the areas that the gangs control. They needed assistance with training. They needed assistance with structural advice as to how to structure the Haitian National Police. The Haitian National Police deals not only with policing, they deal with the Coast Guard, they deal with prisons, and they need assistance with advice across all of those areas. It was disclosed that their police college is located in a gang infested area, and there was a need for relocation.
The high-level delegation led by Jamaican Prime Minister Andrew Holness consisted of representatives from the Bahamas and Trinidad and Tobago. Minister Monroe says discussions included the issue of training members for the Haitian National Police in a third country, which is under consideration.
We met and spoke with the Canadians, who have 3 members of the Royal Canadian Mounted Police on the ground in Haiti, to discuss what their view of it was. We then met with the Haitian Transitional Council, which is the civil body charged with seeking to bring about transition to elections in Haiti. We met with the political parties, we met with civil society, we met with the Chamber of Commerce and Business community, and we met with the churches. All in all, we met with over 70 persons. The main theme from all parties, inclusive of the Haitian National Police and the Canadians, is that insecurity is a problem in Haiti, and nobody believes that you can have free, fair elections with the state of insecurity in Haiti.
Minister Monroe elaborated on other challenges the Haitian police face and some of the requests they made in order to help get things under control.
They also would wish to have air assets when they assault the gang-controlled areas, because if you've ever watched any of these videos, you see what is entailed in the urban environments that they operate in. They made one request, for instance, they had ordered 18 armored personnel carriers. Of the 18, only 8 have been delivered so far, and the armored personnel carriers would permit them to insert and extract police officers from hostile environments. And so little practical things like that. The most distressing thing for us when we were being driven from the airport to the Hotel Montana where the meeting was held was Minister Bell asked our driver, who was a member of the Haitian National Police, what was their greatest problem. And he said their greatest problem was hunger, because there are problems surrounding them being paid. So practical matters have to be addressed. We cannot permit Haiti to cycle down to pure chaos.
Minister Monroe says CARICOM members now have a very clear understanding of what the issues are and that Prime Minister Philip Davis has been briefed. The National Security Council of the Bahamas will meet to consider the matters, and Prime Minister Davis, as CARICOM chairman, will meet with regional partners to determine a course of action. While making his contribution to the debate on the mid-year budget on Thursday morning, Foreign Affairs and Public Service Minister Fred Mitchell noted that his ministry follows the lead of the Prime Minister, who is very much engaged in foreign affairs, particularly as it relates to climate change and Haiti. Mr. Mitchell took the opportunity to advise employees of the Bahamas Foreign Service deployed overseas how they should conduct themselves.
My admonition to Foreign Service officers is try as much as possible, keep the Foreign Service out of the news. Keep it out of the news and out of the gossip columns. When you work overseas, go to work 9 to 5. The Public Holidays Act says what the hours of government offices are, right? You're supposed to work from 9 to 5, open 9:30 to 4:30. And that applies to foreign officers as well. That is what our obligation is in law to the public. You're not on holiday because you have been given a job overseas. And to conduct your private and public lives in such a way as to bring credit to the country.
It is unclear why Minister Mitchell felt the need to share that advice with the Foreign Service during the House proceedings. Meanwhile, he also took the opportunity to remind the Foreign Service of the pecking order and how the Foreign Affairs Ministry should operate.
The other point I make is that the permanent secretary is the head of the Foreign Service. Even though the minister is the policy decider, so to speak, and ultimately I can give directions, decisions in the Foreign Service are to be channeled and funneled through the permanent secretary. Loftus Rocco, who was remains my good friend, and once told me, even as a minister, if you call some public servant below and say, do X, the next thing when the minister gives that direction, hang up the phone. The public servant is supposed to call the permanent secretary and say, look, the minister just called me and said X, Y, and Z. What do I do? Because the accountability to the country is through the permanent secretary. And I think that in our lives, that is why things were constructed that way, so that there is a buffer between you, the policymaker, and the politician, and the public purse.
Minister Mitchell explained that his main job is to make policy, while the permanent secretary is the chief accounting officer and acts as a buffer in keeping with the policy of collective responsibility. He said the Davis administration has done its best to make sure that this system works properly. And finally, in this segment, when it comes to helping young Bahamians learn how to apply for a job and eventually finding meaningful work, the government and its partners, Labor on the Blocks program has been a huge success. The latest Labor on the Blocks event will take place in southern New Providence this weekend. Arkale Campbell tells us more.
The Department of Labor gearing up for another Labor on the Blocks job fair. This time, this 6-hour event will take place in the Carmichael constituency. In conjunction with the Ministry of Labor, community residents and nearly 50 employers, job seekers will descend on the community park in Flamingo Gardens. Minister of Labor and Immigration and Member of Parliament for Carmichael, Keith Bell, is encouraging Bahamians looking for employment to attend.
These employers include Albany Resort, Sandals, Disney, Fidelity Bank, Sunshine Auto, ICS Security, Everyday Tools, Bamboo Shark, Sapodilla, AML, Wimco, and the list goes on and on. Persons are asked to be dressed appropriately for interviews by prospective employers and to bring along their resume, NIB card, and other forms of government identification. Members of the community needing assistance in finding proper attire to be interviewed can visit any of the Department of Labor's offices here at Rosetta Street, Robinson Road, or at Carmichael Road.
Those interested are instructed to pre-register by going onto the Department of Labor or the Ministry of Labor's respective Facebook pages and use the QR code. Minister Bell goes on to explain that employees and government institutions will be utilized to help train and improve skill sets for a better candidacy.
In addition, these businesses and a number of other educational institutions will be on site to provide each person attending the job fair with opportunities for technical and vocational training as a way to revitalize their skills and obtain jobs in the current Bahamian labor force. The National Training Agency and the Bahamas Technical and Vocational Institute are eager to sign up Bahamians free of charge so that they can take advantage of multiple programs that are available and give successful students better opportunity to land a good and steady job. A number of government agencies, including the Department of Immigration and the Bahamas Development Bank, are seeking to employ young men and women to fill vacancies in their agencies. The Department of Labor, who is responsible for hosting the job fair, has created an excellent environment at the community park in Flamingo Gardens and will also have a cadre of staff members on site to provide services to the general public.
As for Labor on the Block fairs held on the Family Islands, Director of Labor Robert Farquharson says those efforts have given dividends. He spoke to the experience of the Department of Labor in bringing job fairs to the Family Islands.
When we had the job fair in Abaco, our team from Grand Bahama and Abaco, two or three major companies, they hired over 200 people in Abaco as a result of the job fair. In addition to that, we have a number of construction companies in Abaco which are actively seeking Bahamians in the construction industry to come to Abaco to work. In addition to that, the Island of Illutra, the Disney project on Island of Illutra, they need 200 people in the operational side of the development and over 100 people in the construction field. So we are eagerly looking to send young men and women interested in those jobs to Illutra. We have posted some information on our Facebook page and our website to encourage people in the construction sector to reach out to us, and we'll find a way to line you up with the people in Illutra who are seeking to employ those men and women.
The Department of Labor has also gone into high schools with a Labor on the Blocks fair. The most recent held at R.M. Bailey High School, where its students had the opportunity to directly access employers, having them available for whatever questions or inquiries into the employer's respective field, and all information available as to how one gains the opportunity to work in the industry. When asked about the feedback from schools, and by extension parents, Department of Labor officials said they welcomed it and are looking forward to future job fairs at schools. The job fair is scheduled for Saturday, March 4th, 2023 at the Flamingo Gardens, starting 9 a.m. and ending 3 p.m. For Jcn News, I'm Cale Campbell.
Thanks for that report, Cale. We'll take a break here. We'll be right back after these commercials.